explores the blues, what it means to be an artist, and race relations in America. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, written by August Wilson and directed by Eugene Nesmith, held at Aaron Davis Hall Thursday, June 14th through Sunday, July 8th. Aaron Davis Hall is located at 135th Street and Convent Avenue on the campus of City College. For tickets and more information, call 212-650-6666. That's 212-650-6666, or visit www.newharlemartstheater.org.
This is WHCR 90.3 on the FM dial, coming to you from the campus of City College in Harlem, USA. Harlem Community Radio, reflecting the various segments of the Harlem community that are traditionally overlooked by the so-called general media. The mandate of the communicators requires the following statement: that this program, The Communicators, does not reflect the views, attitudes, whims, deeds, or any other proclivities of the management of WHCR, nor that of the administration of City College. However, the program does reflect the research done by the participants in the program, who are live and live in color in studio, by phone interview, and of course there is you, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, the first-class citizens of the world. I'm Brother Leroy, representing the communicator team of Brother Wayne Grice, the original communicator, Brother Lukman Abdul Malik, Brother Wali, Brother Fahim, Brother Elijah, Sister Farja, Sister Daia, Sister Sharance, and a host of other brothers and sisters, including Brother Musa Ware and Brother, running out of my names, Brother Tariq Tao, our good brother Tariq Tao. And ladies and gentlemen, our condolences go out to Tariq Tao and his family for the transition of his mother this week. And she is the reason he is one of the best jazz experts in the city. Brother Tariq Tao's mother has made her transition, and we send our condolences, and we wish the family a beautiful, beautiful memory of Sister Tao. Once again, this program is coming to you from 90.3 on the FM dial. On the internet is www.whcr.org. Hopefully I haven't failed to do this thing correctly. Dr. Wesley, are you with me?
Sir.
Okay, all right. I did it right. I did it right for a change. Ladies and gentlemen, online for our first segment of the Communicators is Dr. Wesley Muhammad. Now, this is a brother who is known to many individuals in the what we call the younger circuit of brothers and sisters who deal in black history and the history of Egypt and beyond, the Moors, etc. And he is one of the scholars in Islam, but more than that, he is a scholar, a theologian. That's my term for him. He has studied extensively and is capable of speaking on any number of areas within the context of the Bible and the Quran. So, Brother Dr. Wesley Muhammad, first of all, I want to thank Brother Elijah Shabazz for setting this interview up and introducing you to our audience. And God bless you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, and God bless you as well.
Brother,
I'm honored to be on your show, Brother Leroy, and I, too, thank Brother Elijah for the invitation.
Yes, sir. Our invitation, ladies and gentlemen, to Dr. Wesley is way overdue. We saw him at a school here in Harlem about 2.5 years ago, and he came highly recommended. He said, you need to get this brother on. I said, all right, I'll go over to the school. And when I saw the brother in action, I said, oh, this brother's deep up in here. But we never made the connection until now, because he's coming into town next week, and this will give many of you an idea of the reason why you should come out and hear him next week, and you'll hear more about that as we proceed in the interview. Dr. Wesley, you have a PhD in what area?
I have a bachelor's degree in religious studies and a master's and a doctorate in Islamic studies / Near Eastern studies.
And Minister Farrakhan, in introducing you to the assembly in Mosque Mariam about a week and a half ago, he informed us that your dissertation, your doctoral presentation. That's me, because I just have a bachelor's, so I ain't in the realm of beyond that.
That it's all good.
That your presentation for your doctorate was based on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's program, and if I have that correct, please explain to us who have found ourselves in academia and in need of keeping our affiliation with the Nation of Islam, or our friendly attitude towards the Nation of Islam, hidden under a basket until we got our degrees, and then we get outside and we do our numbers. So explain that for us, okay?
Or the dissertation, or that latter process?
Well, the
simulation, that is called in Islam.
The thing is that you made a presentation for your doctorate, and it was based on the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the program. I just added the flavor that many of us, and I'm not excluding Brother Leroy, will keep our affiliation under the table until we get our paper, and then we'll do our thing to the public.
And it's necessary to do that, unfortunately. What I have learned, Brother Leroy, going through this process of higher education in America, higher education is profoundly political. When you get to the doctoral level, it's even more so. The politics of dissertating, the politics of getting a doctoral degree here in America, it is a lot of positives, but one of the greatest problems is its highly politicized nature. So yes, believers in the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad who matriculate through these institutions, especially at the doctoral level, do find it obligatory to dissimulate, if you will, to conceal our faith confession, if you will, our ideological stance. And in fact, I was advised to do so. I was constantly advised to keep my commitment to the Islam of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad personal, while everyone else around me were invited to wear their faith on their sleeve. Mm-hmm. So yes, that is absolutely the case in the academy today. Mm-hmm. But it is what it is. Mm-hmm. It is necessary that we know the politics, and I unfortunately know of too many black students who got to the door of getting that doctorate, but either was not properly informed regarding the political nature of this process, or was informed but chose to buck it. Mm-hmm. So they got to the door of getting their doctorate, which is a tremendous task, and then fell victim to the politics because they did not play the politics correctly. Mm-hmm. So it is necessary that we play those politics. It's the nature of the beast. I played them. By Allah's grace, I no longer have to play the game, that political game. Mm-hmm. And so my dissertation, while it was anchored in vindicating our pillar belief that Allah came in the person of a man, that man, Master Farad Muhammad, my dissertation never used the name Farad Muhammad, never used the name Elijah Muhammad. It treated exclusively the biblical, Quranic, and early classical Arabic tradition and materials. Of what I was able to demonstrate that the Muslim world is in great error when they accuse us, the followers and believers in Honorable Elijah Muhammad, of being un-Islamic because we believe Allah came in the person of a man. Mm-hmm. The early classical tradition, what I call the lost tradition of early Islam, the lost Orthodox tradition, absolutely bears witness to the Islam that Honorable Elijah Muhammad presented to us.
Now, the first part of your response, in terms of commenting on, pardon me, my observation of, quote, hiding our affiliation, is that indeed that realm of pursuit of higher degrees and validation coming out of the system is something that every student who is black, born here in the wilderness of North America or coming over here, should be aware of. And implied in, or I heard a reference within your answer that they should not go into pursuing a dissertation blind. They should do some research. I would say undercover, and find themselves in the assembly of PhDs, black PhDs, and find out what's going on. And there's no need to be a martyr when you don't have to be a martyr when you're going after a higher goal.
Absolutely. The ideal situation is those black faculty who see young black students enter their program should make it their business to take them under these young budding scholars under their wing and give them the ropes, give them the game, let them know what's required to successfully matriculate. Inform them of the politics that they have just entered into. Unfortunately, too many black faculty don't mentor like that. We don't even know coming into this program that there is that stuff that needs to be sought out. We think it's just academics. So the responsibility is on the black faculty who is there and see these young minds coming in to reach out to them and give them the game. Give us the game so we don't fall victim to so many of the traps that are laid. And there are many traps laid that is responsible, to a great degree, responsible for the low numbers of doctored blacks as opposed to the numbers who enter doctoral programs. The numbers who enter the programs are much greater than the numbers who successfully matriculate and get the degree. Part of that problem is not that these individuals weren't brilliant enough to achieve it, but they fell victim to circumstances they needed not fall victim to, because black faculty did not mentor them and give them the game of how to navigate in at times very treacherous terrain.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest online is Dr. Wesley Muhammad, and we're discussing a variety of subjects here on the Communicators. Once again, your friends and relatives outside the listening area can plug in by way of the internet, www.whcr.org. We're going to touch on a number of subjects, and they're not going to necessarily be ABC order, but they will relate as best we can to the needs within the audience. Also, questioning Dr. Wesley here in studio is Brother Elijah Shabazz. Now, in terms of the traps being laid, I'm using that phrase that you just mentioned. Yes, how aware should our students at even the high school level, college level, that's the bachelor's level, or the associate degree level and the master's level be aware of, quote, traps?
Well, maximum awareness should result in maximum success. So the ideal situation is from high school, as young students are contemplating their future college career, they are aware, because the politics don't begin at the doctoral level. They are just in its extreme form and most blatant and have the freest reign at the doctoral level. They are most unrestricted at the doctoral level. But they don't begin there. There's politics in at the undergraduate level, and I encountered was victimized not only by the politics, but I was victimized by my ignorance of the politics, and thus my inability to play the political game as it should have been played for maximum success. So the politics begin at the undergraduate level. So it's at the associate level. It's a part of the academy, period. The politics are a part of the academy. And especially in the post-9/11 era, the academy, meaning the college and university system and environment, is more politicized now than it's ever been. So the ideal situation is students, high school students contemplating going on to college, are made aware of not just what they need to do to be successful in terms of not partying all night during the week and going to class, not only in terms of how to relate to faculty, but they should be aware of some of the political challenges, ideological challenges. Undergraduate professors, I have found, tend to be more easily threatened by alternative knowledge than doctoral, than graduate school professors are. Graduate school professors tend to be much more assured in their expertise because most of them tend to have been successfully published, renowned publishers in their field. So they tend to, in general, be able to accommodate, at least for discussion purposes, alternative knowledges. But on the undergraduate level, undergraduate professors are much more sensitive and much easily threatened by alternative knowledges. And so young students, fiery minds, especially on the black college scene, encounter these alternative knowledges and bring them into the classroom. And right there's a violation of the proper politics. And there's consequences to that. Students should definitely, ideally, high school students are given the game before they even go to undergrad.
Dr. Wesley, the guys up there at the blackboard, and you dropped something that you picked up from Dr. Ben or Dr. Henry Clark about the condition of black people in America during Jim Crow time, and he's running some other game.
Yes, sir.
His thing is, you trying to be the teacher? He don't say that.
Yes, sir.
You trying to be
absolutely.
Now
you will hear that or some version of that on the undergraduate level. To a degree, you will never hear it on the graduate level. You are prone to hear that on the undergraduate level. Now, I'm the teacher here, the pull and rank, rather than countering alternative knowledge, if you will, with a deeper insight of what the professor was trying to communicate. Diffuse showed the foundationlessness of that alternative knowledge. If that is the case, rather than pulling rank, I'm the teacher here. You're the student. You shut up and listen. It's because of undergraduate professors tend to be much more easily threatened because, in general, their level of expertise in the field is really still developed.
So I want to just wrap this piece up in terms of our discussion for the audience, and I'm saying this not for you to accommodate what I have shared with others. I'm saying this for your reaction, your critique. I have guided folks in my family, folks outside my family, in terms of alternative knowledge. This is what it really is. Bop, bop, bop. But,
right.
Jimmy, don't go into class running what I just told you.
Absolutely.
What they give you, you give them back. But understand this piece of knowledge is the real deal. I'm just putting in that general phraseology.
Yes, sir.
Your reaction.
My reaction, had that game been given to me, Brother Leroy, I would not have been put on disciplinary probation my first year at Morehouse College.
Now,
if that piece of wisdom was imparted to me, I would not have been victimized by disciplinary probation my first year at college, because in my history class, I was inspired and inflamed by this new knowledge I found, and I'm bringing it up in the classroom and going back and forth with my professor. And this is the politics. The professor took it to the dean, and there was no due process. I was called to the dean's office. The professor is in there with the dean. They called me in not to hear my side of the story. I'm called in to be read the disciplinary action for what I did. And so had I had a Brother Leroy Muhammad imparting that to me, that scenario could have been avoided, and I would not have had disciplinary probation on my school record my first year at Morehouse.
Black college, historical black college campus.
Yes, sir.
I'm not making mockery, brother.
It's an even more sensitive environment on the black college campus than on the white college campus. Profoundly more. They are hypersensitive. We are hypersensitive over these matters on a black college campus. White college campus, white college faculty, be they black faculty or white faculty, but faculty on predominantly white institutions, in general, facilitate a much more open intellectual environment than is done in too many black HBCU environments.
I'm going to throw this to you that on the black college campuses, there is, first of all, our own gate watching that we do without the slave master telling us to gate watch.
Right.
Our own.
This is true.
Okay, our own built in. Plus, there is the paid agents and gatekeepers who are placed in position on black college campuses to watch the thread of thinking that may occur and arise out of those environments, and especially watch male and female who could be either candidates against what they represent or candidates to be used further up the line against their own people.
Right, absolutely. The black college experience, which for me was a wonderful, it had its pros and cons, but the sum total, the net of my black HBCU experience was wonderful.
Yes.
I would not have it any other way. Now, the HBCU environment is very different today than when I went. So as I plan the future of my black children, it is not a guarantee they will go to a HBCU as it was in my mind when I was there. When I was there, I knew my children, no question, will go to an HBCU. I am not as committed to that today because of the markedly changed environment. But yeah, we have a double whammy, if you will, at the black college experience, because we black folks bring our issues already to the situation. One of the issues we bring for some of the faculty, their success, their educational success, and their professional success being a faculty at a university is like personal wealth that they guard like watchdogs. Right? Their position of authority in the classroom is authority, it's almost like too often. It's like when black folks, when we are deprived, being that we have been deprived of authority in this country for so long, and so insidiously, when we get a measure of authority, we abuse it. And so, unfortunately, there is that element, which there's more, there can be more of that element in the HBCU environment than in a predominantly white environment, because, let's keep it real, such levels of authority for most of those aren't as new as it is for us within the black experience. So you have that cultural, communal dynamic to begin with, and then you add on top of it the larger system of politics at play, the dominant politics at play. The conspiracy between those two can be strangling to a true budding mind in an HBCU environment. In terms of a revolutionary budding mind. Not great minds come out of HBCUs, like great minds come out of predominantly white universities. The mind that I'm speaking of right now, however, is that revolutionary mind, not the mind that is prepared to fit in and conform to this world. Such a mind has no problem matriculating through an HBCU or a major white university. But that revolutionary mind, that counterintuitive mind, the mind that isn't willing to conform, to just be made to fit into the reigning paradigm. As those minds bud on these campuses, black and white, different sets of dynamics are at work in response to them on black campuses versus white campuses. Now, to be real clear, a black revolutionary mind does not have a cakewalk on a predominantly white campus any more than he or she has a cakewalk in the HBCU environment. There are different sets of dynamics at play. Unfortunately, for at an HBCU, you do have dynamics that work in favor of that budding mind that aren't at a predominantly white institution, but also dynamics that work against such a budding black mind that are not found at or on the predominantly white campuses.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest online is Dr. Wesley Muhammad, and he's coming to New York next week. He's in and out of New York quite often at various seminars and panel discussions, and we're talking in general. In the first part of this interview on education, we're going to get to Brother Elijah Shabazz questions in just one, I ain't going to say 1 second, in about 3 minutes. He's right here up in the Black House.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Okay, in reference to time, I'd like for you to because I'm prefacing the question and the statement that I'm about to make. When folks in the audience, when you go to YouTube, you put in Dr. Wesley Muhammad, and various presentations and discussions and debates will come up with Dr. Wesley Muhammad. Some are very deep in terms of, when I say deep, in terms of language used, etc. And you can't say this doesn't relate to me. You got to have your dictionary, put the thing on pause, and deal with it. But don't just you'll know that his presentations are very, very on the money. Now, I'm going in terms of doing that. ladies and gentlemen, some of us have to have preparation as it relates to thinking and then critical thinking. And that ties in to the condition of education in Black America. And Dr. Wesley, I want you to just give us a capsule as to what Black people need to be doing right now regarding their children who are in grammar school, what is now called elementary school, and high school, in terms of sharpening their minds so that stuff will not just get by them as it does on TV and the daily papers, etc. And I'm leading to thinking first and critical thinking. Then we go to Brother Elijah's and his questions. He's waiting very anxiously. Your response.
Yes, sir. What we as parents and stewards of young budding Black minds need to do first and urgently is cease and desist surrendering our children's minds totally to the system of education. We have to, at the very least, co-educate our children. Sending our children to these schools and relying on these institutions to educate our children, to shape and steward the mind of our children, is the worst thing we as parents can do. That will not produce critical thinking Black children. That's part of the process of strangling that inclination to critical thought and revolutionary thinking in our children. So the most urgent thing that I will recommend to us as parents of Black children is to cease and desist totally surrendering our children's mind to this world's educational system. Take their education on our shoulders. We have to deprogram our children when they come home from school. We have to know what they were taught in school. And we have to be prepared to tweak what needs to be tweeted. That's with church, that's with public education and private education. We have to be fundamentally involved in the education of our children, and that does not mean we make sure they get to the bus stop on time.
All praise due to Allah.
Dr. Wesley Muhammad, I know we're running short on time, and I know you have another engagement. Quickly, we want to talk about your return to New York City.
Yes, sir.
And in doing so, we just want to go over the events that you, the experiences that you have in coming to New York City. I remember first seeing you at the debate with Sarah Supansetti and Ali Bey at the National Black Theater. And when you walked into that room, it was like, how could I say, a bomb going off? Because it was just, it was very subtle. They brought the brother up to the front, and it seemed like after that, I mean, he didn't speak at all that day, but it was like just your presence at that event set off a lot of, I guess, insecurities in the various circles here in New York City. Just briefly, tell us what your experience has been in coming to New York and being introduced to the New York scene.
New York, New York. Well, everyone, New York is New York. There's no place like New York. It's good and it's less than stellar. New York has been an interesting experience. I love my New York family. I love coming in and out of New York. I love engaging New York. New York brings out the best of you. It brings out the best of me. New York has been the epicenter of Black cultural intellectuality for a long time. While hip-hop has, in a sense, shut down the conscious party, if you will, over the last decade and a half, New York is to be given the credit for holding the line, if you will. cultural intellectuality was still popping off in New York. So New York must be recognized for holding the line in that regard, where everything else, where intellectuality, everywhere else, especially, for example, in Atlanta, where I was at school at. When I was in school in the 90s, Atlanta was the hub of black intellectuality. But mid-90s and into the 2000s, hip-hop just killed that. But New York held the line. So New York is to be commended for that. My coming in and out of New York is all, you have to prepare to come to New York. You don't just walk up in New York. You just don't walk up on 125th Street expecting a cool, breezy stroll. New York is the home of the Apollo is New York in a microcosm. You got to bring your best game to New York. That's why I love coming to New York, because nobody, no place brings out, in my opinion, the best of me like New York does.
Yes. So you've been in conflict, if you will. I don't like to use the word conflict. That's kind of heavy, but
people have tried to
right.
position him.
Right.
They have tried to position him to be in conflict.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So
the bloodlusters.
Exactly. So certain segments of the 5% nation, certain segments of the Afrocentric community, certain segments of the Sunni Islam community, and even the Nation of Islam community, unfortunately.
Well, I got a lot of folks upset with me, don't I? You just ran off a laundry list.
So in that, walking into that atmosphere, tell us what your relationship was then, and share with us how it has developed since then. Has there been a cease to the tension, or are there ongoing tensions with your scholarship?
Are you speaking of a particular community? Because you ran off the long laundry list. so your question is in reference to one of those communities or in general?
In general. I mean, because, you had controversy with all.
Well, yeah, no, there's no general answer, because with some, with each community, they pick their issues with me. The Afrocentric community, which in terms of my time in and out of New York, the controversies have been largely within the Afrocentric community, and I place myself firmly within that community. So, yes, and of course the nature of the conflict is because, for a number of reasons, but fundamentally, because of my work with my work on the African origin of Islam, dethrones or erases a number of the Afrocentric talking points that have been important over the last 10 to 15 years as it relates to Islam. In Afrocentrism, Islam has become persona non grata, has become enemy number one. And that paradigm, that Afrocentric anti-Islamic paradigm, had a number of talking points associated with it, a number of claims upon which it was anchored. In my work on the African origin of Islam, disabuses us or refutes a number of those claims and makes several of their talking points unusable, unspeakable today. And so there's anger there. The Afrocentric anti-Islamic paradigm wants and needs Islam to be a white Arab religion. Right? But my work demonstrates that in no way, shape, or form is Islam a white Arab religion. It's as indigenously African in its origin as Yoruba is, as Maya was. And this is a very inflammatory statement to those who are committed to the Afrocentric anti-Islamic paradigm. All of Afrocentricity is not defined by this anti-Islamic paradigm. but a large portion of it is, and the most vocal, the loudest segment of the community today seems to be those committed to that paradigm. And so, yes, that's the basis of the controversy. And you ask the current state, well, it has its ebbs and flows. It's ups and downs. One day, I promise you, since this engagement has begun, 2 years ago, yes. There were people who were friends with who hated me and then loved me. People who loved me then hated me. The love, because there's so much emotionalism involved now, so I use the terms love and hate, decidedly. There's so much emotionalism. And in truth, message, FYI, public announcement, all that emotionalism is unbecoming for a community of intellectualism.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest online is Dr. Wesley Muhammad. You have the opportunity to call in and ask a question, and we don't have time for debates. The telephone number is 212-491-4685, 212-491-4685. You're listening to Black Conscious Radio, coming to you by way of the communicators over Harlem Community Radio, WHCR 90.3 on the FM dial. I'm Brother Leroy, along with fellow communicator, Brother Elijah Shabazz. I want you to just because it wasn't too long ago that I understood what paradigm means. When you use the term paradigm, what's an easy word for us at the grammar school level to understand what paradigm?
Well, when I say the Afrocentrist anti-Islamic paradigm, I'm using in this context the body of thought, system of thinking, system of thought.
Got it. Now, let me play this back to you in terms of the response that you gave, Brother Elijah, that there's a lot of anger over your ability to refute the claim that Islam is a white Arab religion, and that is your ability to refute is not based on your ability to deliver points, but based on your use of documentation.
Yes, sir.
And when you bring the documentation, that's like Moses bringing that, God told him, go with your rod to Pharaoh's court.
Right.
Your particular rod has eaten up, thus far, the other rods that have been thrown down.
Praise the Lord. Yes, sir.
Okay, yes. So I'm playing it back for the audience and myself.
Yes, sir.
You used the term in the first part of our discussion, counterintuitive. Counterintuitive. What is that?
Well, going against the grain, defying expectations. Right?
Okay.
And I use it in the context of young black children, and we want our young black children to think counterintuitively, to think against the grain of modern society. Okay. Modern society does not serve their interests.
Now,
and that's the context I'm in.
Okay, Dr. Wesley, I'm dealing with the word intuitive as it relates to our intuition.
Right.
And if I put counterintuitive together in that context, then I'm hearing it as going counter to our intuition, and I know that's not what you're saying.
No, not at all. And that's generally not how counterintuitive is used. Counterintuitive means something generally is something that's stated or done that counters general intuition, not necessarily the individual's intuition who's responsible for that counterintuitive statement or act. But it defies the expectations of those observing or hearing the statement of fact. That's the context in which I use counterintuitive.
All right, I'm going to throw something else. That what I'm hearing you say there is the general intuition has been doctored. So where people tend to be reactive based on Columbus discovered America. How could you say blacks got here before he before
Right.
he did.
Right.
So
right,
there's a
right.
general, there's a built, we think it's our intuition within the context of education, miseducation, but it has been conditioned into us.
Absolutely. Ingrained into us.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So therefore, that's the counterintuitive that we're talking about.
Absolutely. Well, see, and your point, Brother Leroy, appropriately disabuses us of a myth that our thoughts are our thoughts. This society has ingrained our own instincts in us, our own thinking process. We think we are individuals. We think we are doing us, but we're really not doing us. Our whole thought process, our whole body of instincts is really ingrained authored by this society and downloaded in us like software.
Beautiful. We have a caller. God bless you. Thank you for your call. You're on the Black Air.
God bless you.
Thank you.
My question to Dr. Wesley Muhammad is, I've gotten a few of his books, and I didn't have a problem with Elijah Muhammad coming with his Islamic view. But then when Wesley Muhammad, he went even deeper back into the history and said that the black man was in Islam back then. I said, okay, I looked at his books. But then I looked at what John Henry Clark was saying. He kept saying that they had enslaved us and did all this stuff to us. So I'm just trying to find out, is there periods where there were white Arabs versus blacks in Islam?
Yes, and you used the most critical word, period, in terms of periodization. And by that I mean this, one of the most critical mistakes that many of our Afrocentric writers on Islam make, and Dr. John Henry Clark, with all due respect, may the ancestors, the gods, God be pleased with him.
Yes, sir.
He was a wonderful, a brilliant mind, and I fed from him intellectually, and I still feed from him. But he, like Dr. Chancellor Williams, like Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen, in many cases, they commit an error in their discourse about Islam, and that's the error of not respecting periodization. By that I mean this. Early Islam I documented, that is to say, Islam from the time of the Prophet Muhammad of the 7th century, for the first 100 years, was black Islam. It was authored, it was founded by, and spread throughout the world by black Arabs who were Africans who had indigenized in Arabia. Their treatment, their encounter, their relationship with Africa and other African peoples was, all in all, a very positive one.
Yes, sir.
At a certain point after that first century, whites usurped Islam and usurped the very culture of Arabism. And now we have this new thing called white Arab.
Usurp means?
Take over.
Okay, go ahead.
Steal. Right? Steal the culture of Arabism, steal the language of Arabic, and claim it for themselves and as their own. And it's these new white Arabs that appeared on the scene in any significant numbers a century after the spread of Islam and Africa's first encounter with these black Muslims. They come on the scene, and they do, because they were racist before they got into Islam. And Islam didn't change that for the most part, for most of them. And so they interacted with Africa and Africans the same way they always had. These are the quote-unquote white Arabs that John Henry Clark, Dr. John Henry Clark, and Dr. Chancellor Williams in particular focused on. But they fed, and for them, Islam's whole history of relationship with black people was defined by that period of time. They had no appreciation for the early original context, African context of Islam, and how this impacted the relations between, for example, Coptic, Egypt, and Nubia with those original black Muslims that entered Africa west of the Red Sea.
All right, my brother.
Okay, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is WHCR, telephone number 212-491-4685. Dr. Wesley Muhammad is going to be in Black New York next Black Week.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Muhammad Mosque No. 7, which is located on 106 West 127th Street between Malcolm X Boulevard and Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevards. That's 106 West 127th Street between Malcolm X Boulevards and Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevards. The time is 5 p.m. Doors will open and the program will start promptly at 6 p.m. We have another call.
That's Saturday.
That's Saturday.
This
June
coming
16th.
Saturday.
This coming Saturday, June 16th.
Caller, hold on a second. Caller, thank you for your call. You're on the Black Air.
Black Leroy, this Black.
Hey,
Leroy.
God bless you, Deacon Watts.
Peace.
Your question.
You must have been reading my mind.
What's that?
I just taught the same thing in my class, Community Civic 101, on Monday. Here's the brother come along today, letting New York and the world know about it.
About
About the politics. I was just telling them that politics was everything, and we were doing somebody else's thing and not our own thing. I don't know why I said that, but I said it. And he come along and said that we are not doing our own thing, we're doing somebody else's thing, even when we go to their school. So this is what I'm proud of, that you have him on, and I didn't know you were going to have him on. I just tuned in.
Yes, sir.
And this is what I'm getting today, and no mind like your mind, a great mind to pull up best people that we may get the knowledge. That's what I'm trying to do here. I wish I had you for a week. That's all I can say. But
thank you, Brother D.
We're trying to do the best we can with a few people. We're trying to wake up. Some of us waking up and understand it, but I know they're not getting it as a whole because they go right back to Sunday morning churches and they hear something different. And they come back with something. We had a good time. I don't want to hear it. I went to one of them churches the other day and I told her, I come back in the meeting, I said, he wasn't saying nothing. He didn't say nothing. So I'm trying to say that all I want us to understand is that politics control everything in this country. Everything in this country is about politics. Your religion, everything was voted on. So what vote? Politics vote. And that's how you got everything you got by politics.
Tell us what part of Mississippi you're calling from.
We calling from a little town called Lewin, Mississippi. And we don't even have a red light. We have a crossroad and lots of people in the town. We're in a town where black people couldn't walk the street years ago. Couldn't even go in the store. You had to come through the alley to go in the grocery store, to go around the back. So I'm told. I wasn't in this part, but I know about it. So now we, the black, own most of the buildings in the town. So some people are very happy about it. I know some is not. Because they still do what they used to do, fix up on the other end, and don't fix up on our end.
All right, Brother Deacon.
That situation's going to be there the rest of our life unless we do something about our own self. Thank the brother for being on. Thank you for letting me come on.
Thank you, beloved. I appreciate your call and your comments.
And I appreciate you, brother. Keep the faith.
All right, peace.
God bless.
Well, but going back to my other question, the reason why I brought up the former controversies is I wanted those who, I would like for Dr. Wesley Muhammad to say a word to those who were his former opposers and, to make them feel welcome to this event on June 16th, that they can come and that they can participate and, and be a part of this discussion. What would you say to those who once opposed you or maybe still are not fully with you but are willing to check out your work?
Oh, definitely come, but be on your best behavior. Let's keep it real. Come out and let's build. Let's dialogue. Doing Q&A, not doing my presentation. You hecklers and you bloodlusters, stay home. And real talk.
Yes,
Brother
indeed.
Wesley,
Yes,
there is the time that we're living in is too critical for folks to come out of a Negro zone. This is the time for understanding.
Yes, sir.
And agreeing on what we can agree on and what we can't agree on. So be it. But
absolutely,
we have to. So speak to that. Speak to the time that we're in. What you see okay? What you see. You travel around, not only around the country, but you've been abroad. You read tremendously a lot, and therefore that puts you in a position where you see more than the average person or even your contemporaries. What do you see, and what are some of the things that we need to be about the audience and younger people?
All right, yeah. Knowledge unifies true seekers of knowledge. So, to Brother Elijah's point, if there was a controversy, if you had mixed feelings and controversy about an aspect of my work, that's fine. Come out, let us reason together. The fact of the matter is, knowledge unifies true seekers of knowledge. If knowledge creates division among folks, somebody isn't a true seeker of knowledge. Because true seekers of knowledge appreciate new knowledge. Those who don't appreciate new knowledge, who reject it, who get angry over it, or have mixed feelings or controversy regarding it, it's because their interest lies elsewhere than just the edification through knowledge. Knowledge should unify. I do invite all of New York in the area, regardless of your feelings of controversy, come out, let us reason together to get to the bottom of this.
Brother Wesley, we're going to take this last call. God bless you.
Yes, sir.
If they're still there. They were, and they dropped. I'm sorry to have interrupted you.
No,
but you dropped a principle. Knowledge unifies true seekers of knowledge.
Yes, sir.
And that's the same role that an instructor has to be in who's over a class, whether it's on a lower or higher level. Somebody may come with a gem that you don't know about.
Absolutely.
God bless you. Thank you for your call. You're on the Black Air.
Yes, bless you.
Yes, sir. Speak up.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam.
All right, my friend. I have a quick question, and your breath of fresh air, for me at least. I would like to know, as far as periods, you just mentioned periods, and that's great. That's powerful. And you also believe that Islam has its roots even further back before the Prophet Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
And even back to Adam, and fast before. I would like for you to, just at least.
Well, I didn't hear that last part. It sounds like it would be an interest of me. What did you say about Adam? Because I'm having a hard time hearing.
I'm saying Islam before Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, and even extending back to Ibrahim and even Adam. Because as far as I'm concerned, Islam is nothing new.
Right.
Okay.
And Christ and all the other individuals that came, they was really coming in the name of Islam, basically, but they was going up against a whole grain of adversaries, just like we are going through today. There's nothing new under the sun.
All right. Okay, caller. He'll answer you over the air.
All right.
I didn't hear a question in that. What was the question in that?
Oh, the question is basically, do you feel as though Islam extended even before Prophet Muhammad and even back to Prophet Ibrahim, Isa, Jesus Christ, even back to Adam, Noah, Adam? That's my conception.
Good question.
Thank you.
First part of your question: do I believe Islam predates Prophet Muhammad, the 7th century Arabia? Not only do I believe that, I document and demonstrate that in my book, Black Arabia and the African Origin of Islam. Prophet Muhammad did not introduce the system of Islam as we know it in Arabia. It pre-existed him among the black Arabs of Mecca and Arabia in general. That's one. Do I believe Islam can be traced back to Ibrahim or Abraham and Adam? Well, that depends on a number of things. One, it depends on how you are defining Islam. When I say Islam predated and preceded Prophet Muhammad, I mean not just the simple acknowledgement of Allah's lordship and the submission to his will. I mean the ritualistic system associated with Islam and devoted to Allah. That organized system predates Prophet Muhammad. Will I trace that organized system back to Abraham or Adam? As an academic, I will not do so right now because I have no data justifying that. I have no data rejecting it, but I have no data, no database upon which I can make that claim. So I don't make that claim. I stick to what the data forces me to stick to. And so talking about the religion of Adam, we can do so in a theological context, but as an historian of religion, I'm forbidden to go there except data allows me to go there. So I don't talk about the religion of Adam. Now, though I assume, for example, from the perspective of the Quran, Adam can be that first black Adam, that first black man, wherever he first sat down. His religion can be called, quote-unquote, Islam if we are simply defining Islam as doing the will of the Most High. I have no doubt that was Adam's original religion. Did he participate in the ritualistic system of Islam as we know it today and as refined by Prophet Muhammad? I will not make that claim as a historian of religion.
Dr. Wesley Black Muhammad up in the house. A documentarian breaks it
Inshallah.
down. Well, praise due to Allah, because the approaches of Minister Farrakhan, especially at Savior's Day, and documenting what he comes with, and
absolutely,
the diligence of other members or ministers of the Nation of Islam and members doing the same within the orbit that they can operate in. We can't all know everything, but know some documentation, of what we're talking about. It is indeed a refreshing breath of air, as Brother Deacon Watts has indicated, and we pray to the Most High that we have the opportunity of having you with us again on WHCR, and definitely we encourage our audience in Harlem and beyond to come to Harlem next Saturday at 5 p.m., Muhammad Mosque No. 7, 127th Street, between Malcolm X Boulevard and Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard. Landmark Sylvia's Restaurant is around the corner, so if you see Sylvia's, you're in the area of Muhammad's Mosque No. 7. Dr. Wesley, thank you very much. May God continue to bless you. All praise is due to Allah. We thank Brother Elijah for being the point person on this very important interview, and may Allah continue to bless you and your family, my brother.
Thank you, and you as well. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. And once again, the details.
Yes, that's Dr. Wesley Muhammad. His subject is Islam, Africa's Other Stolen Legacy. Again, that's Islam, Africa's Other Stolen Legacy. That's next Saturday, June 16th, 5 p.m. Doors open. Program will start promptly at 6 p.m. That's at Muhammad's Mosque No. 7, 106 West 127th Street, between Malcolm X and Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevards. Time, 5 p.m.
And after these announcements, our next guest, Brother Harry O., street historian, historian of the streets here in the Black House. He's on the line, and he'll be right with you after these. And thank you for listening to WHCR. And, of course, thank you for your support.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Father's Day, Sunday, June 17th.